Good evening and welcome to Season 2 of the Press Box. I am your host, Cynthia Graham, and with me today is the Department of Education leadership team. Today they are here to discuss what parents and students can expect when public schools reopen for the 2021-2022 school year. Joining us in studio from St. Thomas is Education Commissioner Raquel Berry Benjamin and Deputy Insular Superintendent for the St. Thomas St. John District, Simra D. Brown. Welcome. And here with me at Government House on St. Croix is Assistant Education Commissioner, Mr. Victor Soam III. Welcome, everyone. We have lots of information to share this evening, and so let's get right into it. Commissioner, we will start with you. So, of course, schools are opening on August 9th. Could you share with us what parents and students can expect for the 2021-2022 school year?
Certainly. Thank you so much, Ms. Graham. It's a pleasure to be here, Virgin Islands community. Students and parents of the U.S. Virgin Islands Department of Education Public Education System, welcome to the 2021-2022 school year pre-launch session. For the upcoming school year, our students and parents can expect for every single student to be in our schools, on our campuses. And yes, I said all. Prior to this moment, we started from the onset of COVID-19 at a 6 feet social distancing. We eventually got to 3 feet, and now with the guidance of health, we are down to 2 feet. And that is great news for us at the VI Department of Education because our classrooms have always had that amount of space between desks and chairs. So we are ready to reopen schools within that space for our students to learn in person with teachers and their peers.
So
some additional practices that's going to take place in terms of remaining safe. Mask wearing will continue. Washing of hands constantly, as well as sanitizing if there's no soap and water, which is something that we do not predict because all of our schools are equipped with an abundance of soap and, of course, water from back in March of 2019 when we originally reopened schools for in-person learning. Additionally, our isolation room, if any students or faculty and staff exhibit symptoms of COVID-19, then of course we have that isolation room to protect them and others during the course of the day. So it's an exciting time at the VI Department of Education. You know, we've been exposed to this virus for so long that we're ready to get back to what's important, which is the best learning environment for students to learn from.
Absolutely.
There are other... Go ahead.
There might be a little delay. But so you talked a little bit about, well, actually, tell us a little bit more about the role that the health department played in helping us get to this point where you're bringing all of our students back to the classrooms this fall.
Yes, thank you so much. You know, from the onset of COVID, the Department of Education has abided by the guidance. We follow the guidance from the Department of Health from the inception. And we've done well. We've kept our faculty and staff in our schools safe. We've kept our students safe, our employees within our offices safe, as well as visitors to our offices. AC Soam actually was the lead and still continue to be the lead of the COVID task force at the VI Department of Education. And it's a daily constant conversation in order, whether we're responding to possible cases, whether we're responding to positive cases, or just simply reaching out to share our current circumstance and get guidance as to which direction we should go and which decision ultimately I would have to make as commissioner to make sure everyone is safe. So we've been in contact with the CDC, with the Department of Health. We've had several phone calls with them. We've spoken to districts on the national level. We've learned that we have so much in common, much more in common than differences, and the challenges that we're experiencing, they too are having the same challenges. So the Department of Health, whether it be around student programming, whether it be around sanitizing our offices, our schools, whatever it may be, to reopen schools and fully operate, the Department of Health has been that guiding force. And Ms. Graham, it actually started with the reopening of school plan from the Department of Health.
So they've been a great partner.
That is a three-phase plan, red being 100% virtual, yellow being a hybrid model with a portion virtual and the other portion physically in person. And the green phase being 100% in person. And if you recall, for the 2020-2021 school year, we initially planned to come back in person. We had spikes in our community. A number of safety resources did not reach to the Virgin Islands at that point. So of course we had to adjust from the green phase, and we went 100% virtual into the red phase.
Commissioner, let's...
And in March of 2020, we were able to transition to a hybrid model where some students were in school, in person, and others remained online. So the Department of Health has been a partner throughout this entire process, and we would always remind them, hey, you know, if it was left up to education, we would make educational decisions. It's a health pandemic, so we are depending on the guidance of health, and they've been true partners in this and have guided us well. So we thank the Department of Health.
Great partners with education. So Commissioner, let's just circle back a little bit to what classrooms might look like. You spoke a little bit about the distancing. You said 2 feet distancing between desks, but what about plexiglass around the desks? Just give parents a little bit more of what they can expect their children going back into the classrooms, what to expect there.
Yeah, good question, good question. And that's a very good question because it's something that is not mandatory. So our teacher desks automatically would have plexis. Every student desk will not have a plexi. That is going to be determined by some situations. For example, some classes might need creative spaces. All of the plexis that we already have, we will continue to use. They may not necessarily be in the same classes they were, and they might. Those are school-based decisions that our principals would make as they get creative with scheduling. But their plexis from the onset were never required from the CDC, and we're investing our funds in everything that are required to keep our students and staff safe. The plexis we invested from initially as an extra precaution because we were very much in the heart of the COVID-19 pandemic, with more and more residents being vaccinated, with lower numbers throughout our community. Among other things, it was decided that we really shouldn't invest too much of our funds in the plexis, more so on those resources that we know are necessary. So for example, we've invested in more masks, more sanitizing, more hand washing, among other things, cleaning wipes, for our staff and custodians and teachers to have, and students to have at their fingertips.
Wonderful. And Commissioner, I know, of course, with all of our students returning to the school campuses, I can't remember if you had touched on uniforms yet. Are uniforms required? Is that, should parents start preparing for that?
Yes, certainly. Parents, go out, get your child's uniform. Uniforms are mandatory. It speaks to the unity of the campus, the culture of the campus, and of course the family, the school family. Most importantly, it speaks to safety. Our school administrators and teachers need to know who belongs on this campus, and school uniforms is the #1 identifier to say this is one of our students, along with that ID. So yes, get your school uniform.
Because school is in. All right, Commissioner, so let's get into a little bit of the technology that students and parents can expect going back to schools. Of course, last year, the Department of Education wildly let the community know that we had given every student a laptop and access to MiFi devices. Is that going to be the same going into the new school year?
Absolutely, absolutely. We are in a modern day, we are in a modern world, and we are excited that we were able to provide our students with a laptop each. Now, some parents decided that they prefer to use their own laptop, but the department has a laptop for every single child if they need. If you recall, 6,000 laptops were purchased, and we also procured MiFi devices, which will also be available this school year. Now, the laptops, students had to resubmit to the department because we have routine maintenance, we have software upgrades. We want to make sure that they are set over the summer to redistribute for the start of the 2021-2022 school year. That is an absolute yes, Ms. Graham.
Great. So it's so important to know that, you know, many of the progress, the things that the department had moved into, you're bringing that back and sort of expanding upon it again for this new school year.
Oh, yes, yes. So one of the things VI community and parents and students, we are not out of this COVID-19 era. We're still under a state of emergency. And a good example of what you just asked, Ms. Graham, is virtual learning and in-person learning, our hybrid model, that yellow phase of our reopening plan. So while we're starting the school year in the green phase with everyone in person learning, if we have a breakout, whether it be in one class, whether it be several classes on one campus, or an entire school, we are prepared to transition to go back and teach and learn from home. Because we've done it in March. We prepared and procured the equipment.
Commissioner, if you want to hold that thought, we have to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll get right back and have you continue that thought when we get back. Stay tuned.
I just bring the game. Take your best shot against COVID-19. Get the vaccine. Take your best shot against COVID-19. Oh, I'm second? Oh, I'm just warming up. I am not second.
Hi, this is your Senator Samuel Carrion. I am proud to be a Virgin Islander working hard every day to serve you. Because here, we look out for each other. That's why I'm asking you to take Titi Carmen and your primo Jose to get the COVID vaccine. Some say they may ask too many questions. ¿De dónde viene? ¿Cómo llegaste aquí? But that's not true. Only your name, your age, and your phone number. That's it. No ID needed. Así que por favor, vayan a vacunarse para proteger a nuestra gente y a nuestra comunidad.
And welcome back. This evening we are talking with the Department of Education's leadership about the reopening of the 2021-2022 school year, if you're just joining us. And so, Commissioner, before we went to break, you were sharing a little bit about how the Department of Education plans to sort of go back and forth, if necessary. Of course, all students are returning to schools this fall, but if necessary, if there's a need because of the COVID-19 pandemic, that they would need to revert to virtual learning. You was just explaining that. So just quickly finish that thought, and then we'll continue on.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Graham. The flexibility of our reopening of school plan allows for us to be adaptable and flexible across phases. So while we're returning in our green phase, we have the flexibility to go back to a hybrid phase and even the red phase, 100% virtual. And while we're still very much in this COVID-19 pandemic, it is very likely that we will experience cases and it may affect one classroom, it may affect several classrooms, it may affect an entire school campus. Whatever it may be, our teachers, especially those on the pre-K through third, some of our secondary teachers who taught CTE courses, some of our special education teachers have experience teaching some students in the classroom and some students at home. All of our teachers have experience teaching online. So we do have experienced professionals to prepare to be able to adapt.
Wonderful. So it'll be a seamless operation, if you will, being on campus and reverting to virtual if necessary. So thank you for that, Commissioner.
Yes, and I must say, Ms. Graham, that that's exactly why we're asking all of our students and staff to do whatever necessary to protect themselves and others. Take the time to wash hands regularly, sanitize, wear your mask, etc., to make sure that not only you remain safe, but others around you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So, Assistant Commissioner Soam, so happy for you joining me in the studio today. So, of course, when it comes to returning students to school, there's a lot to do in terms of logistics.
Yes.
Transportation being one of them. Of course, at the height of the pandemic last year, parents were required to transport their children to and from school. What does transportation look like for the upcoming school year?
Well, thank you for having me here. I am very happy to be here to share with the Virgin Islands community that we are excited, we are ready to go for the 2021-2022 school year. So with respect to your question, and specifically school bus transportation, as the Commissioner mentioned, we have a wonderful and awesome partnership with the Department of Health. They get guidance from the CDC, and in turn they provide directives and policies and orders to the central government and to the Department of Education. And in our frequent meetings, almost daily meetings with the Department of Health, they have guided us to the point where we can return to school bus transportation for students territory-wide. There are some requirements, of course, so that we are in compliance with Department of Health guidelines and directives in this matter. So depending upon the size and age of students, in the past, we could have had 3 students per seat. The Department of Health has said not this time around. It's limited to 2 students per seat. So we are providing transportation for our public school students as well as our non-pubs, but it is only 2 students per seat. Students must wear a mask before boarding the bus. They must maintain the mask while they're on the bus. To ensure that they're in compliance with this directive from the Department of Health, school bus safety inspectors in the territory will be making spot checks. They'll be going out early in the morning as students catch the bus. They'll be going to schools in the afternoon as students get on the bus to go home to make sure that that students are in compliance with mask wearing. Mask wearing is key to preventing the spread of COVID-19.
And I would imagine, AC Soam, if in the event that a child shows up at a bus stop without a mask, is there any provision made for extra masks at the bus stop? How is the department handling that?
We will definitely be working with our bus companies in both districts to make sure that every bus has extra mask. Now, certainly if students come every day and they don't have a mask, then we are going to expect that the schools will be contacting the parents to say, well, you need to provide this to your child on a daily basis. But we will have masks available on buses in the event that a child forgets his mask or the mask gets torn so that that child can ride on the bus.
Great. Now, another big area of returning to school campuses, school lunch, feeding the student population. What would that look like in the fall? Well,
you know, research shows quite clearly that a healthy student is an achieving student. So school lunch and school breakfast are extremely important. We know kids that come to school just for lunch. It's really important that we provide nutritious meals to our students. So in this case, as we move into the 2021-2022 school year, for our pre-K to 3rd grade students, they will remain in class and lunch will be transported. Lunch and breakfast will be transported to those classrooms. So that again is another attempt to minimize the possible spread of COVID by having those students, that cadre of students, pre-K to 3rd, remain in their classrooms for lunch. Lunch will be brought to them, and of course they'll take off their masks to eat lunch. They will have mask breaks throughout the day because it's difficult for smaller ones to keep the mask on 24/7 while they're in school. But during lunch and certainly during breakfast, those 2 meals will be delivered to classes and they will partake in those meals in class. With respect to 4th through 12th graders, they're older, they're able to follow directions more easily. There's not as much guidance needed for older students as we do for our pre-K through 3rd grade. So for our 4th grade through 12th grade students, both districts will provide a grab-and-go meal, breakfast and lunch. And grab-and-go is really nothing more than, for example, a sandwich in a paper bag or a burger in a paper bag or whatever the meal is for the day in a paper bag.
A hot meal.
A hot meal.
Yeah.
Hot breakfast, hot lunch.
Yeah.
The St. Croix district, for example, they use those aluminum trays with the covering. The St. Thomas district does the grab-and-go bag lunch. So those students, once they're released from class to get breakfast or to get lunch, they still have to maintain a 3 feet social distance. So I want to emphasize, in class, the Department of Health has said to the Department of Education, 2 feet is allowable. But once you're outside of the classroom to get breakfast, to get lunch, to board the bus, to go meet your parent, you have to maintain 3 feet social distance. So those students from 4 through 12 will be allowed to leave the classroom, go to a designated area on their campus, pick up a lunch while they continue to social distance, eating their lunch or breakfast. Now, I must say that we will not be using our cafeterias.
Right.
And there's a reason for that. Depending upon the size of the school and the population, we have seen where lunch can mean 100+ students at one time. We do not want to create situations where students get to congregate en masse. We just don't want that. We don't want that because not all students are vaccinated, and so we cannot take the risk of having large numbers of students congregate in one place to have lunch. And so that's why we're going to feed our pre-K through 3rd grade students in class, and our 4th grade through 12th grade students, they will eat outside or whatever area is designated on their campus with social distancing in mind. Now, for our students in the virtual pilot program,
which we'll get to a little later on, but it's important to
the
hear
commissioner
how
will explain
eat.
what that is. But for students who cannot come to school, and must participate in the virtual pilot program, their parents or an adult sibling or mommy, grandma, grandpa, cousins, neighbors, someone will have to come physically to the school and pick up lunch for that student because they won't physically be in school. So whether you're pre-K through 4th or 3rd, whether you're 4th through 12, or whether you're still learning from home, we are going to feed you.
Wonderful, wonderful, good to know. Now, AC Som, you said something in your previous comment that we anticipate that large numbers of students would not have been vaccinated when schools reopen. So tell us about whatever initiative that the Department of Education has in place to deal with large numbers of unvaccinated students returning to our campuses.
Thank you for that question. So we're approaching this in two ways. But before I say that, I want to make sure that our audience, our fellow Virgin Islanders, understand that there is no local or federal mandate for vaccination. Let me repeat that. There is no local or federal mandate for vaccination. So what we are doing on our end, because before we can get to learning, we need to make sure that our students, our faculty, and staff are safe. So we're doing two things in that regard. We have, again, we're partnering with the Department of Health to do rapid Binax Now rapid testing. That is a nasal swab that takes a few minutes, if not seconds, that will be administered by our nurses. Our nurses are going to be trained at the Department of Health in how to use and how to apply the Binax Now rapid COVID testing. So nurses in schools will be able to test students, and this is important. And of course, let me just say, that is testing with parental consent. We're not testing any child unless we have parental consent to do so. The Department of Health is providing the sample kits, the test kits, so we don't have to worry about purchasing them. That's free of charge to the department. So we will test students who we suspect that are COVID positive or who are showing signs, symptoms rather, of COVID-19. This is important because it eliminates a step. What happens now is if a child is displaying symptoms of COVID, we have to refer that child to the Department of Health, who then contacts the parents and arranges for that child to be tested. By being able to test children in school with parental consent, we eliminate that step, and that will lead to quicker action on our part.
So you're describing sort of random testing of students regularly? If
No,
you could,
I'm talking about specifically those students who are displaying symptoms of COVID. We
So
need
they
to
come
be able
onto the campuses and they're displaying
exactly.
something.
They may not know they have it,
Yeah.
but we may find out a sibling has it, for example. So we would want to contact the parent and get permission to test that child. Or a child is coughing, a child is sneezing, has a headache all the time. Again, contact the parent. Hopefully the parent would have provided a consent before at the beginning of the year. It's a single or universal consent so that we can have that child tested. So that's one way that we are testing to make sure that our students, our faculty, and our staff are safe. Another method that we're using, we've partnered with Affinity Empowering. Affinity Empowering is a national laboratory, and they have received federal monies from the United States Department of Agriculture, United States Department of Health and Human Services, and they're offering free PCR testing. PCR testing is a more reliable test approach or testing approach for COVID-19. And so this again is being offered free to the territory. It is for grades K through 12. We will be able to use, as a part of Operation Expanded Testing, we will be able to use the test kits from Affinity Empowering.
Well, AC Som, just hold that thought, and we're going to go to another break, and we'll be right back.
I'm not a player, I just bring the game. Take your best shot against COVID-19. Get the vaccine. Take your best shot against COVID-19. Oh, I'm second? Oh, I'm just warming up. I am not.
Hey students, this is Governor Albert Bryan Jr. One of my favorite things to do is read. A good story can fuel the imagination and introduce you to places and characters you've never seen or heard of before. This summer, I'm reading 5 books, and I'm challenging students in grades K through 6 to do the exact same thing. Take my summer reading challenge and read 5 books. Choose from the books you have at home or log on to read5.org for a super selection of books you can download for free. Keep track of all the books you've read and submit the tracking sheet online at read5.org or when you return to school. My summer reading challenge ends on September 3rd, 2021. Read 5 or more, you meet the challenge, and you get invited to my big celebration. Stay safe, be good, and read 5.
And welcome back, everyone. We're here with the Department of Education, and we're talking all things about the reopening of school for the 2021-2022 school year. And right before our break, our Assistant Commissioner Soam was talking a little bit about what testing, protocols are in place to make sure students are safe. So if you want to finish up that part.
Again, thank you.
Sure.
The testing component is a requirement of the Department of Health. We have to test. We don't have a choice. So we, as I mentioned before, we will be doing our rapid by next now test for those students that show symptoms and signs of COVID. And then we'll be doing a PCR test as a part of Operation Expanded Testing, which is being offered by the Affinity Empowering Group, which is associated with the United States Health and Human Services. Right. But I also want to talk about vaccination because that's been a real issue in the territory and across the nation. So as I said before, there is no mandate locally or federally for vaccination, but it is strongly encouraged. The vaccination works. We've seen that across the nation, and we've clearly seen it in the Virgin Islands. So because there is no mandate for testing, the Office of the Governor has offered an opportunity, an incentive, if you will, for people to get tested. So there is an incentive where all school-based personnel, to include school bus drivers, are eligible to participate in a special back-to-school drawing. And they can do so by signing up at vaxtowinusvi.com. That is www.vaxtowinusvi.com. And the incentive is really great. The first prize winner gets $25,000. The second prize winner gets $10,000. And the third place winner gets $5,000. And that's for doing nothing more than being vaccinated. So again, we encourage our school-based personnel, our school bus drivers, our parents to get your children 12 years and up vaccinated. It's about respecting ourselves and saving our community. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, AC Soam. And of course, I think we just had a screenshot of that flyer with details of how you can sign up for that, the school-based personnel. All right, at this time, we're going to go back over to our folks over in St. Thomas. Dr. Brown, are you there?
I am here. Good evening to your listening audience. And thank you for inviting me to Pressox this evening.
Wonderful. It's glad to have you here on the Press Box. And so there's a lot of innovation happening, Dr. Brown, at the Department of Education. I understand that there is a virtual pilot program that the department will be introducing this August, this fall, when students return. Could you tell the community a little bit about your virtual pilot program?
All right. Good evening, everyone. We are getting ready to embark on something that is not necessarily new. The strategy is not new, but the program will be new. And so it's a pilot program for our students who are in the 6th to 12th grade, who are will be able to qualify for full virtual learning. It's a school within the Department of Education, and as we continue to transform into a public education system for the future, we will pilot this special virtual program. Now, all students will be returning to school. All students will be returning to school, okay? And when you return for face-to-face learning, you must qualify for the program.
For the virtual
Okay,
pilot
you
program,
must
qualify
fill
for
out an
that.
application, and you must be able to work independently. You should be, your parents should submit a legitimate doctor's notes with doctor's orders stating that because of whatever's going on with COVID, you will not be able to do face-to-face learning, and so you will not be able to do face-to-face learning, and so you would like to qualify for this program. The department will determine who will qualify, first of all, and we are asking all parents to stay in tune to our Facebook page, our VI page, our Instagram page, our communication medium, because we are very, very concerned about students who have those issues that will not be able to return. We want you to remain in tune. We want you to stay updated with the facts, but this is a program that we are embarking on for the new school year.
Dr. Brown, thank you for that. I just wanted to clarify, so for the virtual pilot program, you said that the department will make the determination as to who would be invited to participate in that program?
Yes, the department will make the final decision as to who will qualify for that program, yes.
Okay, and of course it'll be across the territory. Students in the 2 school districts would have the opportunity if they qualify, and I believe you said it would be students that can work independently very well.
Yes, students who can work independently. The attendance was good from the prior school year. We didn't have any issues with that. Yes,
right. And
that is what we're looking for.
Right, and then also students that might have an illness confirmed by a doctor with a doctor's note that causes them not to be able to do in-person learning. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so I love the fact of the new innovation. Like you said, it's not a new concept, but it would be something new to the Department of Education.
Correct.
Wonderful. Commissioner, you have anything on that? And then anything additional on the virtual program you wanted to share? And also, Commissioner, if you could talk a little bit more or give some insight into the online service providers that the Department of Education will be engaging in the upcoming school year. And again, that's another new innovation that the department would be embarking upon.
Yes, I really want to share my excitement, Ms. Graham, for the virtual program. And I do want to emphasize to the community that it is a program. It is not a school. Our students who qualify and are approved by the VI Department of Education are students who are going to be enrolled in our high schools. They're either going to be enrolled in Central High, Complex, CAHS, or IW Duraken. And they are participating in this program. You indicated it's nothing new. It's definitely nothing new. It's just new to us here in the Virgin Islands. It is a pilot, but I'm most excited to say that this is the way the world is going for quite some time.
Commissioner, I'm sorry, we have to take a quick break, and folks at home tuning in, we'll be right back.
best shot against COVID-19. Oh, I'm second? Oh, I'm just warming up. I have
On Waterfront, next to Sabroso's.
Hey students, this is Governor Albert Bryan Jr. One of my favorite things to do is read. A good story can fuel the imagination and introduce you to places and characters you've never seen or heard of before. This summer, I'm reading 5 books, and I'm challenging students in grades K through 6 to do the exact same thing. Take my summer reading challenge and read 5 books. Choose from the books you have at home or log on to read5.org for a super selection of books you can download for free. Keep track of all the books you've read and submit the tracking sheet online at read5.org or when you return to school. My summer reading challenge ends on September 3rd, 2021. Read 5 or more, you meet the challenge, and you get invited to my big celebration. Stay safe, be good, and read 5.
Hi, this is your Senator, Samuel Carrion. I am proud to be a Virgin Islander, working hard every day to serve you. Because here, we look out for each other. That's why I'm asking you to take Titi Carmen and your primo Jose to get the COVID vaccine. Some say they may ask too many questions. ¿De dónde viene? ¿Cómo llegaste aquí? But that's not true. Only your name, your age, and your phone number. That's it. No ID needed. Así que por favor, vayan a vacunarse para proteger a nuestra gente y a nuestra comunidad.
And welcome back to the press box. And we have been speaking for the last hour or so with the Department of Education, all about the return to schools for the 2021-2022 school year. And so AC Sohn, we've been sharing a lot of good information. And of course, there's always something new happening at the Department of Education. So of course in the St. Croix district for the upcoming school year, there's some new and different things that have transpired. Just share with the audience a little bit about some of those new things that have taken place in St. Croix district.
Well, thank you for the question. The department is always on the move. We're transforming. We are, very excited. In the St. Croix district, one of the things that is new is the merger as a result of the closure of the Arthur Richards School. It pains us that we don't have Arthur Richards for the 2021-2022 school year. That school has been through so much since the hurricanes of 2017. But we have to do what is in the best interest of students and our faculty and staff. And there are issues at the modular campus that continue today that in good conscience, we cannot permit anyone to use that facility. So in the best interest of our students, what we've done is that we've taken students from kindergarten to 6th grade at the Arthur Richards School, and they are merged with the Eulalie Rivera School for this school year. The 7th graders at the Arthur Richards K-8 school, those in 7th and 8th grade, will merge with the John H. Woodson Junior High School. And I know that parents are concerned because I get the calls and they're like, oh, it's too much, it's too big. But in truth and in fact, as an example, the John H. Woodson School was designed for 1,300 students. By merging 7th and 8th grade from Arthur Richards at John Woodson, I believe we have 681 students. So it's more than able to fit the amount of students there. It won't even double in size at John H. Woodson School by merging Arthur Richards 7th and 8th grades into Woodson. At the Eulalie Rivera School, again, the number is over 600, but it can quickly and easily absorb the number of students with the result of a merger between the Arthur Richards and the Eulalie Rivera School. So, we are moving forward as we work on our issues. We're moving forward to transform, and it's really important to us that we not have Arthur Richards on a double session. We not have them coming several days. We want our Arthur Richards students, K-8, to be in school full time. So we looked at all of the possibilities, and this is really what is best for this school at this time.
Right,
okay?
And now in terms of, just quickly, uniforms for the two schools. It's a merger, so it's one school campus.
Exactly, so students who are at Arthur Richards K through 6 will wear the Eulalie Rivera school uniform. Students at Arthur Richards who were in 7th and 8th grade will wear the John H. Woodson Junior High School. So those parents need to know that and go out and get those uniforms at this time.
Okay, great. Dr. Brown, we're throwing it over to you. If you could just tell us quickly about some of the new things also happening in the St. Thomas, St. John district.
So we had the ribbon cutting for the Charlotte Amalia High School Annex. We had a wonderful ribbon cutting ceremony yesterday where our 9th graders will now be going to the Annex for school for the 2021-22 school year. We also are opening the doors for our new Sugar Apple Preschool. So last year we had 2 preschool classrooms open at Yvonne Milanabowski School, and we also had one at the Julia Sprouse School on St. John. This year we're opening to the Joseph Sibley School, the Monroe Annex. So I'm so excited, I'm elated, and those are the great things that's happening in the St. Thomas, St. John district.
Wonderful, and AC Som in the St. Croix district, another new development is also around preschools.
We are equally excited as Dr. Brown. Sure. We are expanding the early childhood program in St. Croix. We previously announced that we would be expanding it to the Alfredo Andrews School. We're expanding our pre-K program at the Lumoko School. By including these 2 new schools, these 2 schools for the 2021 school year, the St. Croix district is now up to 5 pre-K schools: Pearl B. Larson, Ricardo Richards, Alfredo Andrews, Lumoko Elementary School. So.
And Dr. Brown, if you could share, and then AC Som quickly share, how might parents be able to register students for the new preschool offerings available in the 2 districts? How might they be able to do that?
Well, with the announcement of the preschool back in March, our parents took advantage of the registration, and so the school right now is full. The classroom for the preschool, yes.
Okay. And AC Som.
We got space at Lumoko because that's our newest preschool.
Okay.
In this district. So I forgot to mention the Claudio Marco School is also one of our pre-K schools.
Okay.
So they would proceed to our People Personnel Office on the Dunbavin campus in Estate Princess to register students who are 4 or will be 4 by December of this year for our Granny Preschool programs in the St. Croix district.
Wonderful. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
your best shot against COVID-19. Yeah, the vaccine. Take your best shot against COVID-19. Oh, I'm second? Oh, I'm just warming up. I have nothing.
Okay, so you texted me some here. Yes, okay, okay. Oh, Jesus. Yes. Yes. And welcome back, everyone. And so you all have been listening and tuning in to us. Now, we wanted to sort of connect with you all right here on Facebook. So we'll be answering a few of your questions from Facebook. And so we have one here. It says, does the return to school include special education students? Commissioner, are you there? Can you speak to that? Or
Yes, and that's a very good question. All of our student populations from kinder, actually pre-K through 12, and all subgroups in between will return to our campuses for in-person learning for the 2021-2022 school year.
great. And what about temperature checks when students arrive to school, AC Zone? Will that be happening this school year as well?
That is something that is a norm, becoming a norm. We did it last school year, and we will continue to do it this school year. That's just a norm, a given.
Now, I'm just seeing some commentary on Facebook. Some parents are, concerned or expressing some concern around how is the department going to navigate ensuring that students keep their masks on throughout the school day. What would that be like? I know you talked a little bit about that early in the segment, Commissioner, or it might have been you, Assistant Commissioner. How will you navigate around that?
Well, we had this experience before. This is not totally new to us. In March of this year, we started school. Granted, it was only pre-K through third, but we have this experience, and from what I observed and from the reports that came in, it went well. Teachers ensured that students kept their mask on, administrators walked around the campus to make sure that there was compliance with masks. And so this is nothing new to us, and it's really a continuation of what we've been doing this school year in pre-K through third. We're just expanding it now through all grade levels to ensure compliance.
Okay. And Commissioner, there is some discussion online about whether there would be a hybrid option. Do you want to reiterate what you said earlier about all students returning? Is there a hybrid option for parents this school year?
Thank you for the question. So our first mode of instruction for this school year, and our primary mode rather, is 100% in-person learning for all students, all students. The option for a hybrid is really not an option. It's a response to COVID. If in fact a student or students are affected by the COVID-19 virus, then the department, our teachers, our principals, our schools, we have the ability to learn and work from home as we've done from the start of last school year. We have the technology, we have the software, and of course, instructional materials online to be able to learn from home. So it's really in response to COVID that we would end up on a hybrid model or 100% virtual for all students. Now, to clarify further, the department will have a virtual program that we're piloting. That is only for a small population of students, 27 students max per class. That is our pilot program that is 100% virtual, and that requires students to apply and qualify. For example, given two conditions. They've proven themselves to be independent learners and successful at online learning as last year, as well as good attendance, showing up for class and showing up for class on time. All students should return for in-person learning.
Now, AC Som, there are some student athletes or parents of student athletes that are tuning in, and they're asking about sports. Will school sports return?
Oh, definitely. We are working on just that. No, we have a plan for school sports. It's being worked on by the Division of Sports and Athletics. So that's something that is in the plan.
Wonderful. Well, it looks like we've come to the end of our program this evening. It's been a lot of great information shared. Commissioner, if we can just give us your final thoughts, final words as you return to school in August.
Yes, VI community, it's this time of year when we all get excited, especially at the VI Department of Education. This is what we do. We are excited to bring our students back, have them in our arms, in our classrooms, and get them prepared for growth and development, not just academically, but socially, emotionally, relationally with their peers, physically, and of course, in their career pathways. And this is something we want you to be excited about as well, because we need your support so that we can educate your child or children. I want to encourage you to remain patient, remain hopeful. We recently, yesterday, had our ceremony, our ribbon cutting ceremony for CAHS Annex. It is the first live, tangible representation of what the schools in the Virgin Islands would look like in the future. And 4 years out, from 2017, we have the first example of schools of the future. Stay tuned to the VIDE, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, visit our website, and of course, read our press releases so you could have the latest updates. It is going to be an awesome school year. Thank you for your support.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Commissioner, and the entire Department of Education leadership team that joined us this evening. And we wish all of our students, our teachers, and parents a wonderful return to school on August 9th. And again, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing your questions with us on Facebook, and we'll see you soon. Good night.